Welcome, welcome, welcome to your well-being session. Welcome to your training for the heart. Yes, today we are going to train for the not yet world where racism and white supremacy doesn't exist. Not yet. Here's a few economics. Education. What you're listening to is a record from Mary Lou Williams. It's called Mary Lou's Mass by Mary Lou Williams. She, along with Milton Ornette, wrote the Bop fairy tale in the land of Obladi, recorded by the Dizzy Gillespie Big Band. So let's take note. In the land of Obladi, recorded by the Dizzy Gillespie Big Band. Now I want to let you look at Mary Lou Williams. This is a black woman, okay? And then if you look at Dizzy Gillespie, he's a black man, right? So this was music created by some black people, right? All right, now, hold on really quick. As you can see, if I Google in the land of Obladi, if I Google that, this is what comes up. Training for the not yet. That's inaccurate information, okay? It shouldn't be a white young male in charge of the narrative for the bop fairy tale Oobla-Dee. That shouldn't be the first thing that comes up. That's a sign that we are still under this white oppressive control. You feel me? And so to train for the not yet, the world where everything doesn't surround around whiteness, I'm here to tell you that that cannot exist anymore. All right, we're going to change narrative. So now, when you Google it, when you Google something about Oobla-Dee, in the land of Oobla-Dee, hopefully I will pop up to give a different narrative to tell you that we are training for a world where, entertainment, inner attainment, whiteness isn't everything. We're training for that world. Lesson number one. Lesson number one. I Googled one time who are the most powerful people in the world, and on this list wasn't one black person on the list. What? No, we're gonna change things this time. I'm gonna say what's on my mind. I don't care how uncomfortable it gets. I'm gonna do it. 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 I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna do it. We're not doing this shit no more. Labor. I'm just sitting here in my room having a little dance with sunrise. All right? So this lesson has to be about the one. Now I draw my name from the Oracle. You listening so loud? Oracle is a character on the Matrix. I'm here to tell you that the one is not a white male anymore. Okay? No more is the one. She was right. She said, you not the one. Law. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse.
You don't get to kill my brother.
Give me 1 moment.
You don't get to kill my brother. You don't get to plot and plan his death. You don't get to kill my brother. You don't get to kill my brother. You don't get to kill my brother.
Let's get him on the
Loves of truth. Look at the truth. The naked truth. The naked truth. The naked truth.
Politics.
to your new video by H-Town. Well, I've got a question for you. What does knocking the boots really mean?
Well, knocking the boots actually means two boots coming together, making tasteful lust.
Superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned. War!
Gang, it looks like we picked out the wrong spot this evening, don't it?
Training for the not
this
yet.
sweet music's all right, but
Exorcism. Exorcising
I know where to go.
for a world.
Let's get our coats and hats and
A
Angel,
world
huh? Come on then, let's
without
go where we can have some fun.
racism. Peace, light, and love. So, went over a lot of material. Okay, it was a lot. And this is the first time me watching this in Europe. With majority, this is where y'all live. Okay, so I never met Christian, but from what everyone's telling me, he was very interested in the music that you all call jazz. First of all, that's problematic because the people who created jazz didn't even like that word. The AACM in Chicago, which is the Association for the Advancement of Creative Musicians, call it great black music. Dr. Youssef Lateef calls it autophysio-psychic music. Others have called it black American music. It is the music of black people in America. And you're like, oh yeah, we know that. No, you know, because if you knew it, your institutions would reflect a different narrative. And I wouldn't be here today with this video. If I'm here right now, and I'm a musician, and these are the things that are on my heart, like 99% of the time of my life, that's where we at. This whole thing is problematic. It's a problem. It's a problem. So, a new word, just like jazz was created, you were talking about how you showed the Ken Burns documentary, goes through jazz and how people study it. And, you know, at the beginning of the last millennium, 20 years into that millennium, some things started shifting. It was like the roaring 20s. There was this resurgence of black people doing new things, new sounds. Jazz came forth. There was riots, racial riots. There was a pandemic. Sounds familiar, 20 years into our millennium, a lot of the same similarities. And so I'm like, well, what are they going to call black music now? What are they going to call black music now? And I think they want to call it Afrofuturism. Has anybody heard of that term? Who's heard of the term Afrofuturism? Najee. Max, you've heard of it? Okay, if I say it, what do you know about it?
The writings of Samra, of Afrofuturism, and of other artists.
Yes, so what she's learned so far, and what most people say when they think of Afrofuturism, they start thinking of particular artists like Sun Ra, who would be considered a jazz artist, Sun Ra, Funkadelic. Najee, what have you known about it?
It's tricky because I'm of a whole different canon, but Afrofuturism always deals with manifesting or envisioning something that's not here in the present.
the same vein that I'm sure the conversation they were having 20 years into the last millennium. What is this thing with black people and this sound and your other, and certain artists come up, back then it was probably like Fats Waller, and then now it's Sun Ra, and then these, and it's particular to blackness, you know? So they called it jazz. I feel like they're trying to call this Afrofuturism. And do you know when Afrofuturism is put out there, I'm getting called up. And then I'm like, okay, when there is a complexity of a sound, it does not fit into a white thing, all of a sudden it comes, it turns, it's its own little machine. So I don't know about this work, but I just had a show at the Album Philharmonic in Hamburg just a few weeks ago, and there was a little article that came up. There's all these things about Afrofuturism. This is what it said. It said, Afrofuturism is a type of aesthetic that blends African diaspora culture with technology, has been explored by many. Sun Ra, Parliament, Funkadelic, Janelle Monáe, Erykah Badu, and even Beyonce. So, you're like, okay, there's the definition. Let me show you how problematic this definition is. Afrofuturism, a type of aesthetic that blends African diaspora culture with technology. So you're trying to say technology doesn't include African diaspora culture, because otherwise you wouldn't have a term called Afrofuturism. That's called racism. Okay? Racism ain't somebody who's just hating people. It's baked and it's embedded in our system. When you put technology over here and African over here, that means you never wanted to include that definition of technology to include people of African diasporic descent. So when you live in a world, now you're not going to know that because that's not your reality. But me, that's my reality. Okay, that's what I'm feeling. Is it accurate? I don't know. Is it right or wrong? I don't know. But I'm telling you I'm feeling that, and I don't like it. I don't like it. And so, if I'm uncomfortable, I have this philosophy, because I have a friend, I was telling you guys last time, this friend, and he's an Afro-pessimist. He's like, Angel, I don't know why you be ranting and raving, ain't nothing gonna change this the way it is. Just accept it, Accept that this is how it's gonna be. Like, you're gonna have to be triggered and sometimes feel funny being the only black person in the room. Sometimes people say things to you, be like, that was so fucked up what you said, but you thought we were nice. That was really fucked up what you said. What would it look like to do my art where I didn't have to always maneuver in that? I don't know, but there's nowhere I can go where this culture isn't there. It's everywhere. It's not a hate, it's like an annoyance. It's like, there's a really good movie. It's called Undercover Brother. It's called Undercover Brother, right? And this black man, he comes and he's around a whole bunch of white people. And he goes like, Caucasian overload! Caucasian overload! Caucasian overload! There's too many of y'all. Y'all are everywhere. All your ideas. Everything you think is important. If I turn on the TV, it's always a white man who wins. He's always the heroes in your movies. I'm sick of it. The epitome of beauty is always a white woman. I'm tired of it. I'm beautiful too. It's annoying. It's annoying. So, the music, the sound, all of this, jazz, Afrofuturism, whatever, at the same time, you're benefiting off of it, off of my shit. And then, years later, look where jazz is. Jazz is in a bad place. It's dead. We're going to talk about that real quick. See the most controversial film since Birth of a Nation, The Cry of Jazz, a KHTV semi-documentary film. April 3rd to the 9th, inclusive. Lincoln Center, 700 East Oakwood Boulevard. That's in Chicago, Illinois.
And it's going to be with emphasis focused on the Negro Negro's triumph over the demonic currents of his experience. And briefly, that is the history of jazz till now.
Well, you know, I'm interested in what's going to happen to jazz. John, aren't you?
Yes, but Alex, I've been thinking about something you said before.
What's that, John?
Well, look, granted that the Negro is the fountainhead of jazz, isn't it possible that a white can be just as basic to jazz as a Negro?
That's a fair question.
Yes, it could be possible, but possible only when the whites have paid the price in suffering to be the Negro's equal.
But we are your equal. What are you talking about?
But you're not our equals in suffering.
People just don't go out searching for suffering. How will we ever be your equals?
Well, the first step will be to accept the Negro's tragic experience with reverence and humbleness.
But we're individuals. We've got our own way to go.
And that way is leading America nowhere but to death and doom.
But the Negro's way of looking at life is offering hope to everybody.
Certainly. Jazz is telling everybody's story. Why can't you accept it?
Oh, wait a minute. That's outrageous. Outrageous, my eye. This joy and suffering in jazz has cut across many differences in people and has won many friends for us overseas.
They really go wild over in Europe, Asia, and South America.
Do they? Do they now? I don't know about that.
Then you must be pretty dumb.
You know, it seems to me that jazz and Negro could win friends for this country more readily than the other things we're doing in the Cold War.
Now, how can you be so illogical, Faye? Foreign policy is one thing. Jazz is another.
But she's right, because people in foreign countries sense the warmth and beauty in American Negroes and jazz, while they distrust white Americans.
I don't see it. But anyway, Faye said something earlier about being interested in what's going to happen to jazz. Would you tell me, Alex?
Yes, jazz is dead.
Well, if jazz is dead, then the Negro's dead, right?
No, wrong. What do you mean jazz is dead? Why, jazz is selling more records today than ever before.
Why is jazz dead, Alex?
Jazz is dead because the Negro needs more room to tell his story.
But isn't jazz enough?
Well, it should be, the way you guys have been talking about it. You know, there are limits.
His story deserves more than just jazz, jazz, jazz. Jazz, for all its power, beauty, and world dominance, is too limiting. It's a genteel slavery.
Slavery was over in 1863. Why must you guys always keep crying the blues?
Look, I'm sick and tired of hearing Negroes accused of crying the blues.
This is nutty. Absolutely and positively nutty. I've given in to you on those other points, Alex, but not on this one.
Why?
Oh, come on. Let's cool down, okay? Now, if the Negro won't need jazz, who will need it?
American whites will need it in order to understand the suffering which is needed in order to try to become human.
Well, in what way is jazz dead, though, Alex?
Let me clarify. The jazz body is dead, but the spirit of jazz is alive.
Well, why is the body dead?
The body is dead because inherently the material of jazz does not allow for further growth.
Well, what are these inherent reasons for the death of the jazz body?
The inherent reasons for the death of jazz center around the restraining elements of jazz.
call jazz and you exclude this voice, racist. I'm gonna call it out every time because that's what the fuck it is. Okay? Listen, y'all, there's a lot of problems here. White people writing about black music. Listen, the race is not your fault. Okay, listen, it's embedded in you. Sometimes I read your articles and I'm like, did you see that implicit bias he made? Like one time I had an interview, very, very nice journalist. She was so sweet and one of them. And she was like, Angel, I heard about how you want to open schools and everything. Are you going to make it affordable so that black people can afford it? Who said black people were poor? We are not poor. Stop saying that. Do we have communities where people are struggling? Yes. Do you? Yes. Do Asians? Yes. But black people are not poor. We can afford a lot of shit. If we didn't, why are you still trying to make music off us? Why are you trying to take this and only have white bands? That's a, y'all need to stop that too. If you have a jazz program and you have no black people in your program, shame on you! That's called racism. We have to think about it because we're still living off of this. I'm not saying this to cause a revolution to change. I don't know what to do. But we will be unified in this. If I'm uncomfortable, you're going to be uncomfortable too. Nobody said I have to like it. I can accept it, but no one says I have to like it. You know? And that's what this lecture is about. It's about telling the truth. It's telling this side of the story, which I, for whatever reason, feel like Christian would want that. He loved this music so much. He loved it. You tell. He tried that. I think what I'm saying, he would have been like, yes, y'all, listen to her. And maybe that's what he is saying on the other side. Yes, y'all, listen to her. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. What I'm saying is the true voice of what young black creators feel in this thing. This is how we feel. You don't have to agree with it, but this is what it is. They ways. I said they ways, and look what the ensemble say, huh? Well. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about they ways. Just get this out of the way, okay? Louder than the voice of the white woman who cried that Osceola was deserting beauty, deserting her real self, deserting her hope in life. The flood of wild syncopation filled the house, then sank in the slow singing blues which it had begun. The girl at the piano heard the white woman saying, "Is that what I spent thousands of dollars to teach you?" "No," said Osceola. "Simply, this is mine. Listen." Oh, if I could holler like a jack, like a mountain jack, I'd go up on the mountain and call my baby back. The Ways of White Folks by Langston Hughes. Chicago Defender, December 18th, 1915. Rape, lynch, Negro mother. Columbus, Mississippi, December 17th. Thursday, a week ago, Cordelia Stevenson was found early in the morning hanging to a limb of a tree. without any clothing, dead. She had been hung Wednesday night after a mob had visited her cabin, taken her from her husband, and lynched her after they had maltreated her. 100 years of lynching by Ralph Ginsburg.
generosity.
Ain't nobody joking! Sick of it!
Now, Hush Harbors is a tradition of my ancestors and many other people. Well, to close out the lecture, in conclusion of the matter, the conclusion is, this ends right now. We're not doing this no more, period. Just gonna let you know that right now. This ends right now. Thank you, everyone. Peace, light, and love. Thank you.